Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about Silent Hill and why it's terrifying. Now this is a game I definitely played too young and I couldn't process the sick and twisted nature of the game and I never completed it. I always said I will go back to the game because the game left an impact on me. With the terrifying and unsettling presentation, I knew it was worth revisiting, at least I thought so. And now I started this channel and I thought this would be a great Halloween special. So buckle up. Before we start, make sure to like the video, share and consider subscribing if you're new. I post on a weekly basis new videos on various topics and games. With that out of the way, let's roll the video. Now for start, Silent Hill 4 isn't maybe the best game in the series. Heck, even some considering it's really bad, because Silent Hill The Room, or codename 302, was made that the original crew from Silent Hill was divided in half. Many people don't even consider The Room as a proper Silent Hill game, but rather a game that got a Silent Hill name slapped onto it. I only played briefly Silent Hill 1, and I will judge the game with almost no nostalgic feelings to the other games, but I will judge it as a standalone title. In Silent Hill 4 is where we got a whole different view and a settling perspective on the game franchise, as the lead writer was working on Silent Hill 3 at the time. So if this was a good thing, it was debatable. But over the years Silent Hill developed a cult-like following. Get it? A cult-like following? Because it is based around cults. Yeah, sorry. But let's talk about the presentation. Normally a game in the intro shows you what you can expect in the game, but not when we are talking about Silent Hill 4. Because it's downright terrifying to say, weird noises, disturbing videos of monsters and ghouls just floating around. Just looking at the intro of Silent Hill 4 you really don't know what to expect. Using little music and more just harsh noises and the heartbeat sound combined with silent moments. And at the end it's like the intro is going for a jump scare but then suddenly cuts off just to switch to a character's unsettling stare. Hey pal, you're looking down. Everything alright with you? You want Snickers? Here's a Snickers. Feel better? But then the music switched to a weird jingle. The intro is simply playing with your emotions and you're really questioning what could you expect of the game. To start with our emotionless character Henry. Henry is a deeply introverted person who struggles with his loneliness and inability to reach to others. Many consider him emotional like a brick for his voice acting. As I read, many fans complain he's too motionless.
What? Another dream.
But looking at that, he's been in his room undetectable for 5 days and no one has noticed. Shows how Henry is just not a social person. Eileen is the first person to take note. Not friends, not family. In fact, when you look in the family picture, he comments that he hasn't seen or talked to his parents in a long time. He spends much of his time observing passively his neighbors, the neighborhood and the world at large. Henry isn't just a flashy personality, but it needs a bit a deeper look in him to get a good analysis. As his voice acting can feel a bit dull, the lead designer stated it was purposely to make him more relatable to an ordinary person. Well, let's agree to disagree on that part, okay? Who the f would remain calm after seeing this?
Are you okay?
No, she's not fucking okay, Henry, okay? What give you the indication she was okay? Are you blind?
No, you is blind.
The problem is he's just too chilled on every occasion and the voice acting isn't giving him any justice. Often is he also too quiet compared to the other characters and it just messes with everything because we're still talking about our main character. As you already guessed, I didn't find any empathy or relatable element with him. That did break the immersion for me quite a lot. Imagine you wake up in your apartment chained up and seeing paranormal activity. But our guy Henry doesn't seem to care even about seeing the huge hole in his bedroom. The chains could also be a metaphor if you're looking just a few months ago we couldn't leave our homes because the whole thing was going on. But that's just me overthinking things. Now how Silent Hill 4 used the first person view in the apartment was a mixed bag as it takes away from the immersion the game has, at least in my case. Henry is just a person who got to be a key in a secret ritual and he isn't much related with the other series, so perfect for newcomers to jump in. But should you? Yeah, that's again another pair of shoes. As a kid I didn't know almost anything about the series, so that was a great starting point for me. Much of the story is delivered with notes and random entries in the diary, as a few cutscenes. A huge problem lies that everything you read is just encrypted and it doesn't make any sense at the beginning, so you really don't know where to pay attention. The problem lies if you really want to know everything about the game, you need to juggle your diary, so to have a clue what's going on in the end. A second playthrough would be appreciated then actually, to get a more clear view from the beginning. But nah, not with me. Even if the end is going for a big revelation, it still didn't hit me as hard as I would like.
That's what she said!
Silent Hill really delivers with the Japanese horror this time, with a disturbing presentation of different types of ghouls and ghosts. But the cutscene running lower than 10 FPS to give a Japanese-like horror element, I didn't find any good actually. It could be done otherwise. One cool thing is that some people you meet on the way will end up dead and eventually turning into ghosts, which leaves a creeping and unsettling feeling about how you talked with somebody and the next thing is his body is hunting you. And the ghosts will be unique to places where they died. Sadly, the gameplay aged really bad. What a surprise! The combat was awful, but does it contribute to the horror element? Well, no. The ultimate weapon I found in the game, and I shit you not, was the taser. One zap and most of the enemies are lying on the floor, so you just need to stomp them. And that's it. So zap zap zap, then stomp stomp stomp, or just...
Run.
Yes, I told you the whole combat in one sentence, but if you came to this series because of the combat, you are here for the wrong reasons. As I only played the first game for a bit, I can't make a direct comparison with the older games, but the puzzles were somehow hit and miss. Besides the puzzles, you will be also doing some fetch quests. Henry can hold up 10 items, which fill up rather quickly, as your 10 bullets hold a goddamn slot. Plus you will be collecting quest items, so be prepared to jump dimensions every so often, just for the sake of managing your inventory. If this sounds ridiculous, welcome to Silent Hill 4. But the apartment would be also a place where you progress the story with small hints and things you will be discovering around, as in the previous titles where you need to run throughout the city to find certain nodes. They are now personally delivered under your doorstep. No, really, they just stick it under your doorstep. But how the apartment is your home was an interesting concept and how it's based around it. You will see step by step how the only place you feel safe starts to be corrupt and everything starts to rust and fade away and got possessed. And it's really sending a strong message to the player. This is not a safe place for you, despite being your home. But there must be more bad things to talk about. And you're correct. Say hello to an escort mission and backtracking. Two things every gamer likes. The problem lies in the second part of the game. You will be revisiting all your places you have been, with a little twist and a few more rooms, and some older rooms maybe have a new item in it. So this was fun, like sitting on a cactus. Plus dragging Eli throughout the second half of the game was just great. Please, we need more games with escort missions, especially when they made the escort slower than the main guy. Who thought this was a great idea should have his balls put in a juice blender, just of a fun factor, because it could relate with the fun I had in the second part of the game. Enough of the ramble. So this was a really hard video to make, because the game just didn't have a hard impact on me. And I'm sorry if I sounded a bit like Henry. I didn't want this video to be a review, but more to talk about the game as a whole, as the game left a mark on me over the years, with a never-ending lust to play it again. So how to conclude everything? The bizarre thing is that the gameplay felt like somebody dragged my bare ass on broken glass. But looking at how it made me feel was somehow surprising, because I wanted to know more about the story. Why was there a huge hole in the bathroom suddenly? What was the backstory of Eli? What was the backstory of the guys who were killed in the dream? To know a bit more about Walter and the kid. Now you're probably guessing I will say go on and play the game. Well, not today. This is a game for a niche audience like this video, and I didn't expect many people to be interested. If you can look past the shortages the game has, you will find an enjoyable and quite bizarre and weird story, and a different look at the Silent Hill series. As I read, many didn't like the game because it wasn't a proper Silent Hill game, but as I said, I will judge the game, let's say, as The Room. And it still is a hit and miss situation, but sadly more misses than hits. So if you maybe saw or heard something that sounded cool or interesting, give it a go, but don't expect a revolutionary game because you won't find it here. But that's enough rambling for me today. So I wanna hear your thoughts of the game. Would you try it out? Doesn't have anything interesting to offer. Next week I'm going to be on vacation, so there will be no video next week sadly. And that's all from me. Add me on the social garbage, leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe if you didn't, and I hope I see you in the next video. Snorky over and out.